Good morning. I'm the Reverend Rachael Hayes, minister of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst. I use she, her pronouns. Welcome to you.
Good morning, my friends. I'm going to bring it down just a little lower. How's that sound to everyone? Better? My name is Lauren Croce. I've been a member for many years, and when I accepted the invitation to join the Leadership Development Committee this fall, I wasn't completely sure what was expected of this group. I recently heard that part of holding authority or leadership is asking yourself, who am I? And why am I doing this? So I guess it's no surprise that on my way to our first meeting, I was wondering, what motivated me to accept this role? And what do I have to offer? I knew how passionately I wanted to bring our scarred and scattered community back together anew, following the collective trauma of the pandemic. Having loved this community for almost 30 years, it was easy to answer the "why am I doing this?" question. But it would take collaborating with this committee, Susan and Sue, and with Reverend Rachael, and participating in this discussions with all of you, many in my beloved community, for me to begin to answer the question, who am I and what do I have to offer this community? At our first meeting, we talked about how we envisioned our role in the society. We knew that historically, this committee was charged with recommending the slate of board members for the following year. But our discussions quickly led us to considering a broader, deeper purpose we could serve. Just as a pandemic had led many of us to new and deeper understandings of ourselves and others. We could not ignore this, and we felt compelled to view our role through more of a spiritual than pragmatic lens. As we shared our newly honed post-pandemic selves with each other that morning, we knew that we needed to understand the passions, fears, hopes, and dreams of the congregation as well. We began imagining ourselves ambassadors, shepherding the congregation to explore and cultivate an understanding of who we all are and why we all are here. We trusted that the intimate cottage meetings we organized would provide a space to gain deeper understanding of the individuals within this congregation and to explore the talents and gifts of connection we all have to share. The reflective conversations we facilitated served as our compass to guide our way forward following the pandemic disruption. Ultimately, we came to view the purpose of our leadership committee as a sort of mirror, a mirror capable of reflecting to each person in the congregation the gifts they have to share and to offer a way to share as we strive to manifest and actualize our shared Unitarian Universalist values. In our discussions with Reverend Rachael, the committee's decision to hold these meetings felt affirmed to me when she shared the concept that this congregation is our sacred text. No wonder the committee felt compelled to take the pulse of this diverse community at this very pivotal time. We wanted to read the sacred text. We needed to hear collective voice of the congregation in order to know how to move forward out of this time of loss and disconnection. As we share what was most evident from these small group discussions that many of you attended, we hope everyone will see themselves reflected in some way. Personally, this experience has allowed me to recognize and embrace that my passion and inquisitiveness are two of my gifts that I offer this committee and this congregation.
We are living beneath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection, it be my crime. In humility, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living with the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, binding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me, band together and be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living beneath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. When we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we've been given to share have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living beneath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
My name is Sue Alexander, and I use she, her pronouns. You know, just being here in this place, looking out at all of you, even half your faces, fills me with gratitude. Whether or not you attended one of the college meetings last fall, most of us have had the opportunity to participate in a small group or a covenant group as part of our UU experience. And there we learn the value of deep listening and sharing in a safe and receptive place. So it will come as no surprise that the overwhelming response to these meetings was gratitude for once again having the opportunity to come together after 2 years of isolation. In the course of these discussions, we asked participants to tell us what gifts they received from their connection to this congregation. Among the many and varied responses, the words connection, shared values, community, deep sharing, and acceptance came to the forefront. We also asked people to tell us what gifts they brought to this congregation. Willingness, service, leadership, curiosity were some of the responses, as were problem solving, gardening, fixing things, and volunteering. I came to this congregation on the day after the election in 2016, when the UUSA mercifully offered a candlelight vigil. I knew I couldn't make it through the next 4 years without an intentional community. But having retired after many years of being in charge, I was determined that I did not want to be a leader. I'm a natural planner and a strategist. It's just how my mind works. But it can also be exhausting if you think you're in charge. At the same time, I knew that being in community meant participation. And this congregation offered so many ways to enter, rejoice, and join in. Here, I've learned to appreciate listening to the ideas of others, even those I don't agree with. And I find the emerging patterns in our efforts. I've become a happy follower, sometimes even a mediator, and I hope a supportive contributor to the process. A congregation exists in the process of connecting with one another. Sharing and receiving the gifts among us keeps us in relationship. You know, UUs talk about beloved community, but that's the water that we're swimming in together. It's not some unattainable goal. It's what will get us through to that other side. So what does it mean to share our gifts? To paraphrase the theologian Frederick Buechner, you are called to the place where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. Please join in singing "What Gift Can We Bring?" The lyrics are on the screen.
Good morning. I'm Susan Rice. I use she, her pronouns. And I would like to share these words from my hero, Robin Wall Kimmerer. She says, "In the teachings of my Potawatomi ancestors, responsibilities and gifts are understood as two sides of the same coin. The possession of a gift coupled with a duty to use it for the benefit of all. A thrush is given the gift of song and so has a responsibility to greet the day with music. Salmon have the gift of travel, so they accept the duty of carrying food upriver. Our work and our joy is to pass along the gift and to trust that what we put out into the universe will always come back. Our gifts are our ways of being that shine out of us. We can't not display our gifts. Giving them doesn't drain us, it enlivens us. We can't help but act on our gifts, our delights, our strengths. Through sharing our gifts, we connect in meaningful and even loving ways. Perhaps our gifts reside in a skill. Maybe they are housed in our knowledge, our lived experiences, or just somewhere in our DNA. You have them. We all have them. But there is a vulnerability that comes with giving, with naming our gifts. It feels risky to share what I perceive my gifts to be. What if you don't see my gifts? What if I'm wrong? What if I'm fooling myself? But as Brené Brown reminds us, vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, empathy, even creativity. In looking at leadership development through a different lens and in attending many of the cottage meetings with many of you, I have pondered the two sides of the coin. What do I give and receive from this community? My gifts are that I am trustworthy, I am often contagiously ebullient, I am generous in my care and concern for this community, for you, and I am collaborative. I work well with others, and I have an intuitive sense of musical harmony. So what might your gifts be? What do you give that energizes you? Let's explore that. I would like to lead us in a brief guided reflection, a meditation, if you will. So take a moment to find a comfortable seat and breathe into your being. Soften your gaze, relax your jaw, loosen in those areas that you might be holding tension, and be with your essence. Your kindness, your warmth, and swim in the comfort and goodness of you. Open to your generosity, your intellect, your history, the source of your gifts, the energy of you. Acknowledge your gifts, your delights, and feel the pleasure that comes from what you give. In a moment, and when you are ready, return to our shared space, holding on to your sense of giftedness. thank you for engaging in that self-reflection. While those feelings and thoughts are close, I invite you to find the Post-its on your order of service and anonymously share your gifts. These Post-its, these gifts, will be gathered in a basket as an offering to our community. For those of you on Zoom, please share your gifts in the chat, and they will be transcribed on a Post-it here. Now take a moment to once again reflect on your gifts and delights and scribe them. Thank you.
We're going to sing From You I Receive to bless all of these gifts and the ones still rolling in the chat. And here it is. Let's sing it together a few times. Each of us carries sorrows and are lifted by joys along this path of life. We honor these joys and sorrows in community by speaking them aloud to one another and by holding them in silence in our hearts. Come into this time of compassion. Open your heart. A tune weaves under this moment of care. I invite anyone bearing a joy or sorrow this morning to come forward and light a candle. If you wish, you may speak into the microphone. Please keep your mask on to speak unless you took a COVID test before joining us today. Zoom attendees, please raise your hand after the sanctuary attendees are seated again, and we'll call on you and ask you to unmute, and we'll also light candles for the joys and sorrows in the chat. Spirit of life, love, and connection. We have come from many places of our lives to show up to one another. We affirm that each of us brings the gift of our true self into our circle today. May we rejoice with those who celebrate this day. May every hurt be healed. May every sorrow be met with care. May we know that each of us is loved and called to share that love with the world. Blessed be. Amen. Please remain seated for our meditation hymn. May I be filled with loving kindness.
Be filled
Please join me in the words to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Nope. There we go. I invite you to rise in body and spirit. Place your hands over your heart or reach out to someone near you as we sing our closing song. Refreshed in our connections with community and with our connections to our own deep gifts, let us go forth into the sunlight of this day. Amen.